All right, everyone. It is Monday and it's time for the Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. Oh my goodness. We are highlighting the Industrial Marketing Summit 2026 with another preview with Emily Ting with us today. Oh my goodness. Are we going to have some fun, Kurt? I'm your co-host, Damon Pistolka, but we're going to turn it over to that pretty gentleman right over there. If I can get my finger pointing right, to Kurt Anderson, and he's going to take it away.
You know what, Damon? You're the best finger pointer that I know. I really, and I mean that
I
sincerely. I don't tell
with
that to many people. I'm like, you are. Try one more time.
Usually it's like this. Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
Yeah. That's just to our wives, right? Like, you know, when something's wrong, it's just like we point at ourselves,
Yeah,
you know?
like, there you go again.
So, all right. Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome for just what an absolute honor, privilege. We have Emily Ting in the house. Emily, happy Monday. How are you?
Happy Monday. I'm doing good. How about both of you?
Oh, my goodness gracious. If we were any better, Damon, you might have to call 911 on both.
Yep.
Right? Is that how that goes?
Yep.
So, Emily, we are thrilled to have you here. We've got a ton to unpack, lots to uncover. You are a speaker at the Industrial Marketing Summit coming up in Austin, Texas in March. We're going to do a deep dive there. But before we go there, I have a little question for you. Are you ready? Are you sitting down? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Heavy.
Emily, when you were a little girl growing up, who was your hero? Who did you look up to? Who just like showered you with unconditional love when you were a little girl growing up? Who was your hero?
Who was my hero? Wow, that was not what I was expecting when I was a little kid. How little are we talking? Like when I was 5 years old?
It could be anywhere from kindergarten to high school. You know, it could be a parent, could be a grandparent, a teacher, a coach, a mentor, just somebody, a neighbor, anybody that just who jumps up. We've had people have said like TV characters. We've had sports. We've had cartoon characters. So we've had all sorts of different answers. Curious to hear what you think.
Oh, now that you bring up cartoon characters, there was, I loved, watching superhero TV shows growing up. There were a lot of good animated ones back in the day. One of them was like Teen Titans. Loved that show. And Raven was my favorite character from that. I also like anything X-Men related. I was always watching that, and Rogue was a favorite character, I think, because both of them, had like a lot of walls up around them, and they just, had a lot of depth as character that, I think a lot of people could relate to, try, the struggle to open up or, express yourself well.
Right. Awesome. Cool. Great answers. We put you on the spot. Yeah. Thank you. Hey, Damon, we got a friend that stopped by saying hi here. Peter's here.
Johannes Van Heerden. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by today. He says, happy Monday. And I hope I didn't butcher your name too badly.
I think you did pretty good. You're pretty good with names, man. So, hey, guys, drop us a note. Let us know if you have any questions, because we've got an expert here. We're going to be diving into a wonderful topic. Emily is a speaker at the Industrial Marketing Summit. On top of that, you are a marketing specialist at CCS. Now, let's go there. Now, Emily, if you don't mind, and I didn't even mention this to you, we're going to pull up your website and just take just to give people a little sneak peek. But share with the folks, CCS. Who is CCS? Who is CCS, and how do you and your team make the world a better place?
Yeah, so we're a machine vision lighting company, and if you don't know what machine vision is, that's when you're, using a camera to support, an automated process in the manufacturing space usually. So if you're, trying to inspect for defects on this, product, and you want to make sure that those defects don't get passed and end up in front of your customer, you're probably using a camera to look at it to see, is there a defect there or not, and those cameras usually require dedicated lighting to help them see what they need to see for a variety of reasons. Kind of break that down on our regional website that you have pulled up there, but it can be because the product is moving super quickly down the line, or it's I think people underestimate just how difficult it is for a camera to see certain things. Like just because we think it's easy to see, we can like see that scratch super easily.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's the same is true for a camera, and some so our lighting helps to like make those scratches stand out. Or if you're trying to read an embossed code and make sure the lot code is correct, you need
Yeah.
lighting for that as well. So it just has a lot of applications across all different industries.
Yep. I remember the first time I ever saw it. I was at a show in Chicago and I saw machine vision inspecting spark plugs at high speed. And I'm like, oh my goodness, the cameras, the lighting, everything. Because they were expecting, I think it was for quality and like the gap in a spark plug they were doing. And like you said, a scratch on something, or even for some simpler applications like potato chips coming out of a fryer to go, this one's too dark, and there's all different kinds of things that they use cameras for in manufacturing. Like that's real high volume and they do a wonderful job.
Yeah.
One other one that was really interesting, I saw it in a seed plant in the Midwest where they were trying to grade seed that would go back out into the field as seed to grow more corn. And it was just like, you don't realize that there's gazillions of bushels that are photographed one seed at a time, just to make sure it's all quality. It's so cool what you guys are doing, different stuff like that.
You'd be amazed, like some of the stuff that we encounter, and it's just like, the randomest things that you're like, oh, of course this would have to be inspected. But, we end up with a lot of, interesting samples sometimes. Like once there was like some pickle jar application. So the customer gave us like 20 jars of pickles or something. And that engineer had a lot of pickles that she needed to eat / share with her friends and family.
Yes. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Well, absolutely love it. And so, hey, Damon, just a couple comments here from Peter. He says, hey, you got it perfect.
You got it right.
Hey,
Thanks.
way to go, Damon. Great job.
Thank you.
Emily, he says he's also a big DC and Marvel fan as well. So
we are here too.
Absolutely love it. So, all right, guys, again, drop any questions in the comment box if you have. Emily, now I want to go here. So when you come out of college, did you see yourself as a B2B marketing guru, or like what did that look like so we talked about when you're a little girl growing up, when you got into college, did you see this path? Now you've worked at corporate in Japan, you're here in the States. Talk a little bit about your journey coming into B2B marketing.
I had some experience in the tactical side of marketing already. I'd done internships while I was in college, and it was, managing social media accounts, for example, or doing basic website development things. And I had enjoyed that. So my majors in college were international relations and East Asian studies. And like pretty quickly on, I had decided, going into diplomacy or whatever was not something I was interested in. So, but I was just like, I don't really care about that, like career wise. These are all subjects I like. So might as well just take the 4 years to enjoy studying them, learning what I can about, all this interesting stuff. And then, after that, my career can be something completely unrelated to those majors. So yeah, I wanted to go into some type of marketing. And like I said, my dad had a friend who had a friend who worked at CCS America at the time, and they were looking for a marketer at the time, but because I had expressed interest in that, and I spoke Japanese, they said like, why not, and hired me.
Awesome.
Nice. Well, hey, it's always nice having friends and family that have that are in high places, right? So
exactly.
Gravitate to this wonderful career. Now, just what are some of the challenges that you face as a marketer on a regular basis? I know we're talking a little bit kind of like coming into year end. What's for our marketing friends out there that are manufacturers, what are some of the challenges you have, and how do you navigate through some of those challenges?
Yeah, planning in advance is always the challenge, right? However, much time you think you need. You probably need
Mhm.
2 or 3 times more, just because, there's budget approval, for example, and it can be very hard when you're, you know, director of sales and marketing who I report to always, has a million priorities and
Yeah.
finding the time to say like, "Hey, can I have money for this?" And she might say, "I need to think about it because it, is a pretty big chunk of money." And then maybe she doesn't have time. And when I ask her about it again, she's like, I haven't had a chance to think about it. So there's the challenges like that. And especially in manufacturing, I think where so much of what we do relies on having like physical objects, or building physical demos, for example, for a trade show. It's not as easy as like, oh, I forgot to do this post, I'll
Yeah.
you know put it up right now. It's no, like, we forgot to order this part, and now that we're asking them about it, the lead time is like 6 weeks, and we have to, ship everything in 4 or something.
Yeah.
So if you're not careful, you fall into that logistical trap very often in
Well,
marketing and
yeah, you bring
manufacturing.
up a good point. You bring up a good point. And like if you're doing trade shows, as you're talking about, the planning for those is intense. And if you're
Yeah,
doing multiple trade shows every year, like you said, okay, what are we doing at them? How are we preparing for that physically? And then digitally, you have to worry about that too.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Very cool.
So, all right. So, mentioning trade shows, let's slide into the conference. So, you are speaking at the Industrial Marketing Summit in Austin, Texas, March of 2026. What an absolute honor! It is a powerhouse conference. Emily, you and I both have been at the past 3. It's like the who's who in industrial marketing. If all the cool kids are there, right, Emily? Is that how that works? Right? All the cool kids are there. Is that what they say?
Definitely. Looking at this year's lineup, I was like, "Oof, I've got my work cut out for me."
Man,
There's
I'll
some
tell you,
pretty
it
great
is a
people
Hall
on
of
there.
Fame lineup, and we've had the privilege of almost all the speakers have either been on the show or are going to be coming on the show. So let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen real quick. I'm going to pull up your particular topic. What a great topic! How did you? So let me just share this. So how we built a distributor benefits program that excited everyone involved. Emily, how did it like? Please give us the curious minds would love to know. We'll come back to this in a minute. Curious minds would love to know, how did this come about? Damon, we run into this all the time.
Yeah.
The sensitivity, the delicateness. I don't know what the right word is, right?
Yeah.
How delicate it is maintaining like that distributor relationship. Sometimes it's great, sometimes not so great. Emily, tell us the background, what was going on that led you to this presentation.
Yeah, I guess from the start, I was, debating whether to submit an application. Like I said, I've never done a presentation at a conference before, so I was like, "Oh, I want to take this challenge on." And I said, why not? And so I asked Peyton Warren, who's one of the main,
Mhm.
persons in charge of the conference, what types of topics people were asking for,
Mhm.
so I could get some ideas. And I wasn't surprised to hear that, distributor marketing was a topic that came up in manufacturing. A lot of us, have a most, if not all, of our business coming through distributors.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it just so happened that this year we, redid and launched a new and improved benefits program for our distributors. And all things considered, it went pretty well, despite, like you said, how delicate that
Mhm.
um, relationship management can be. Um, and it was maybe one of the first times where I felt like, oh, leadership and sales and marketing were all like, really aligned.
Nice.
Wow.
Um, uh, and I feel pretty good about what we put out in the end to our customers. And so I felt like, oh, this could be a good thing to talk about, just to share like our
Mhm.
experience and give some ideas or guidance on how people who are in a similar situation can create something similar for their own customers.
Mhm. Well, absolutely love it. And so one thing that you kind of slid right into one of the questions, or slid into an answer. One of the questions I had is leadership. How did you get leadership buy? So leadership, sales, marketing, that triangle that usually isn't very symmetrical, right? Usually everybody's kind of maybe rowing in a little bit of a different direction. So without giving away secret sauce, again, you've got to catch Emily at the Industrial Marketing Summit in March, of course. But Emily, just share a little bit, like how did you get everybody on the same page?
It was interesting in that this actually came from leadership, which I don't know if you're always, so lucky in your company, but it's one of those weird things, right? Where everybody kind of knows it's an issue that you have to tackle, but you're always saying, "Oh, we'll take care of it next year," and then you say that for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then, like, for some reason, the stars align on one particular occasion, and it's like, "All right, like, this is the time that we're going to make this a priority as a company," and you don't really get to control that. So we in that sense, we were fortunate. So, they y- took the lead on maybe some of the more sensitive topics of just like, how are we going to evaluate distributors as high performers versus low performers? Like if that's in terms of total annual sales, which that's one of the factors and maybe the biggest factor. It's like, how do we find the right number for that? They were in charge of that conversation, which I think made it really helpful, and got everybody, aligned. Nobody was just like, or there was a lot of debate about it, but we all, came out on the other side like very like still on the same page,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. So that was really important. They like defined everybody's roles in it as well. So marketing would be in charge of like once the different tiers were set, coming up we were in charge of coming up with the benefits and then working with leadership and sales to say like, okay, should we offer this benefit or not? If we offer it, does everybody get it, or do we, give the high performers a better version of that benefit?
Yeah.
Etc. And so the other departments then are like giving us feedback for that. And then we were responsible also for helping the sales team kind of go to market with it. It's not necessarily a product, but helping them effectively launch and communicate that to distributors.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge thing to really go through that because your distributor relationships can be massive in terms of sales, and you want to be able to, really keep growing the business in different ways. When Kurt and I would see it in the past, it's really like, okay, here's an OEM, and we've got distributors because that's how we've done it for many, many years. But now we've got this little thing called e-commerce where we can maybe do some e-commerce sales too. And it could be direct on our website, could be on distributor's website. There's all these variations. And that is just such a challenge to navigate. And it's so cool that you guys were able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got a couple of questions here. Peter's popping in a couple of questions. Damien, you want to grab that?
Any governments or compliance challenges that come up within the B2B manufacturing marketing space? Any pointers for how to navigate them? So, yes, Emily, do you have those kind of things that you're dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, especially because we're a global company, so especially like the European regulations, they
Yeah.
like we inevitably like have to follow those, even though we're not, selling we're not selling our products in Europe, but obviously the company as a whole is. So I always, is it pronounced Ross, Ross, ROHS?
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys are
Rojas.
Rojas. Yeah.
Oh, Rojas.
Mhm.
It's
Perfect.
not always like tomato, right?
Yeah.
It is. It is.
So that's one of the big ones. Recently also, I think there were some in Asia that are starting to come up, and it's a challenge because then, you have to apply for the approval compliance for all of them, and that
Mhm.
can be a big chunk of money. I think there was actually one product that our our headquarters developed a few years ago, but because of some regulation standard in the US, we weren't able to sell it in the Americas, but like other regions of the world, like Asia and Europe, didn't have that issue. So it was, it's kind of funny. So yes, definitely governance and compliance challenges.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Peter's on a roll. We've got another question for you, Emily. You ready? Here we go. Damon, what do you got?
Oh, this is a good one. Is relationship management a function of the manufacturing marketing side? And what is your go-to for keeping your ducks in a row with relationship management?
Great questions. Thank you, Peter. What are your thoughts there, Emily?
Short answer is I don't know. I think I don't succeed at it all of the time. It probably comes up a lot for marketing just because so much of marketing comes down to like getting buy-in from other people, whether it's like buy-in from leadership for a budget, buy-in from one of your technical experts of like, can you give me 30 minutes to ask you, non-expert questions about this particular topic, or, help me like fact check this blog that I wrote, make sure that I didn't say anything, factually inaccurate, or just, even with sales, like convincing them to use the materials, or if you have to build a certain system or process, like making sure that they're following that process. Like CRMs, I think, are a good example of that, making sure they fill in, or what, the necessary information gets filled in for you to report on the things that leadership will ultimately care about, or so there's always just like some type of approval that you need to get from any department. Relationship management is kind of a built-in like big part of the job, I would say, and sometimes we get it right and sometimes we get it wrong.
Well, it's always a process, right? It's a work in process. So
I would maybe just say, like, try to interact with those departments as much as possible. It can be tough when you guys work remote, for example, but the more you're in front of people, the more you get a sense of like, oh, this is how to communicate to this particular person, and this is how you communicate to this particular person. Or if you want a certain outcome, oh, I should like go through this person to get that person to agree, because they'll agree more easily if it comes from that person versus if it comes from me. So the more you interact with, members of those other functions, the more you can like build rapport and figure out how, to navigate those relationships to get what you want and build those connections.
How about on the customer side, Emily? Did you get involved like any like customer relationship management? Like, do you guys use a CRM tool like Salesforce or anything that you want to share there?
We use Salesforce. It's still a pretty new tool for us. We're in like the crawl stage, right? Of like crawl, walk, run. We are, I think, still very much in the crawl phase, and we're still all collectively learning that way. In terms of marketing being in front of customers, aside from like trade shows, for example, one of the ways we get in front of customers is like in-person trainings. That was another thing we made a bigger push for this year. So, and that was mostly marketing led, and that helped us get in front of customers as well. Some that, a new development this year that I think the benefits program might have, helped play a part in, is that we had more invitations from sales to join them on customer visits, or when they were going to meet with a customer, they would invite marketing, which didn't always happen, or almost never happened in the past. And so that's been that's been a great way also to start getting in front of customers and hear directly from them.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting that direct feedback is incredible for marketing, because secondhand anything is not quite as accurate as right from the people themselves. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to come back to the Industrial Marketing Summit. So again, if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen one more time, and let's go back to your session here. So again, guys, if you're just joining us, we're here with Emily Ting. She has a wonderful, incredible jam session, we're going to call it, coming up at the Industrial Marketing Summit. How we built a robust and incredible, vibrant distributor benefits program. Doesn't say that right there, Emily. I had a little bit. But revamping distributor programs requires more than good intentions. That takes strategy and buy-in. And so, Emily, what else can people, again, we don't want to give our secret sauce away. What else can people expect when they catch you at your jam session at the Industrial Marketing Summit?
Yeah. They can expect basically the story of how, like, from start to finish, how our, again, since like I said, it came from leadership. So from leadership saying, hey, we're going to do this thing, how we, developed the program over, I think it was Q3 of last year. So it's taken essentially like a year and a half for us to get through this. So yeah, developed it in Q3. And from there, like, go, pre-launching it to launching it, troubleshooting along the way, and hopefully giving people tips or things to consider, so that they can adapt it to their own situation. Because I'm aware that it's one thing to be a components manufacturer and selling through distribution, and that is not, or some of the advice I give might not necessarily apply well in other manufacturing situations. So I'm doing my best to, like, show the nitty gritty, but also show a higher level of, take a step back and ask yourself these questions to find out what works best for your company. So yeah, everything that went right, and even some stuff that went wrong.
Yeah. Well, and with that, and Emily, we'll start winding down here. I'll be respectful of your time. Is there a particular culprit, or is there something that you've seen where like many, as Damon was saying, like the OEMs that have those distributor relationships, is there a common culprit that you see where people just whiff or miss, or just kind of causes that chaos? Or is it just kind of an accumulation of different things? Any thoughts there?
In terms of things they get wrong, I'll talk a little bit about it in the presentation, but I heard a good piece of advice from a distributor who isn't in our industry, not in the machine vision industry, but was in the industrial, manufacturing space. And one piece of advice he gave was, don't create a lot of friction for your distributors, whatever you're, ultimately going to do for them. If you make it harder for them, or you make it too hard for them, then that can hurt the relationship. And when you don't leave, I like the specific example he gave was, like, they were forced into, like, using this very specific tool or something, and it made, I don't remember the specifics, but it made things a lot harder for them, and that ultimately hurt the relationship. So that's something you always need to keep in mind, like, when you're coming up with benefits, what types of systems and processes is that going to require you to put in place, and how does implementing those affect you and the customer? If it creates a lot of friction for the customer, you probably want to reconsider. And if it creates a lot of friction for you, in some cases, it doesn't matter. Like, some things are just, so important that you have to accept that you're going to have to do some hard work.
Mhm.
But in other cases, you can decide the hard work is not worth it and not offer that benefit. So that's where it can get really personal for, company to company.
Yeah. And I think the key, what you're saying there is like those win-win-win relationships is just, when you dedicate yourself to helping your distributor, because I mean, basically they are your sales rep, like they are a partner to you. And
Yes.
sometimes it becomes like almost a little adversarial or confrontational, but I love the line that you have right here, get the blueprint and, it's strategic, sustainable, and profitable. That's the key. Profitable for everybody, because if it starts getting, if your distributors, like, hey, gee, we're being a little bit too generous, that can be detrimental. If vice versa, so it's like really keeping that healthy balance, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And making it simple so it doesn't cause the distributor a lot more extra work, because they're trying, they got multiple brands they're trying to deal with. And if you're the hardest one to deal with, that might affect your sales with them.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep it super simple. So, all right, let's just do a quick rundown. So again, guys, if this has not been on your radar, March
Get it
3rd
on the
through the
radar.
5th. What's that, Damon?
Get it on the radar.
Get
The
it,
industrial
get it
marketing.
on the radar. So, guys, we've
Yeah.
got March 3rd through March 5th, 2026, Austin, Texas, the Industrial Marketing Summit. All sorts of amazing, incredible speakers. If you just Google Industrial Marketing Summit, you will check out the website. Again, Emily and I just mentioned earlier, we've been to the past 3. They are absolutely wonderful. They have Rand Fishkin for the keynote. They have workshops here, and all these folks have been on the show. You can catch replays of these where they're giving previews. Jake was on the show not too long ago. We've got Damon. We've got Mandy coming up next month. Jim's been on the show. We've got Dale has been on the show. And then, of course, here's our dear friend, Emily.
Yeah.
Emily, as we wind down, parting thoughts, why on earth, like they need to pull out their credit card today and sign up for this. Now, we don't make a penny, so we're not making any, we have no skin in the game. So we're not trying to sell anything or be salesy, but this just really is, it's the who's who. It's just a wonderful environment. The energy is just off the charts.
It's so warm, so positive, so supportive. Everybody's eager to offer up their experience because everybody is, had to wear lots of different hats. Some of them have worn it more successfully than others. So something that's like super basic to them might be like mind blowing to you, and vice versa. I think industrial manufacturing marketing is its own type of niche, and the advice that you get for marketing in general doesn't always work, or you need to kind of weave in more like the specific constraints that you see in manufacturing that you don't get in other industries per se. So this is a great place to get advice for those like really specific situations.
Yep. Hands-on experience and just the networking alone, they always say like the water cooler conversations. Plus, I don't know, Emily, what you think. The food is phenomenal. They do a really good job at the venue. And so again, guys,
yes.
Put this on your radar. We've got, as a matter of fact, the gentleman right below you, Josh, is going to be on the show next Monday. We're going to be promoting the Industrial Marketing Summit again. And from there, all right, Emily, we're going to let you go because I know you've got a really busy week ahead of you. As we wind down, I have one last question for you. Best business advice. What is the best business advice that you've ever received that you would love to pass on to our friends out there today? Best business advice.
Business advice. Oof. Another really big question to end on. I started with a big question.
We got who is your hero growing up? And I think we heard a lot of the Marvel characters, and now we're going to close out with best. And everybody's on the edge of their seat, like they're hanging on the edge of the seat. They're like, "Oh my goodness, Emily, what do you have for us?"
Yeah, best business advice. Something that I actually think I need to work more on, but I have heard is, good business advice, and I agree with it, is understanding how the P&L statement works. That just, can open up a lot in your understanding of like how your business stays afloat, and by consequence, how you can better make your case for the things that you want, especially if what you want costs a lot of money. So I still have a lot to learn about the P&L statement, but I've heard the advice, and I think it's good advice.
Yep.
Cash in, cash out. Where's it going? Where's it flowing? That is brilliant advice, Emily Ting. Thank you very much. Damon, one more comment from our friend Peter.
Yes. Wish I was in or close to Austin. Would love to attend the summit. Unfortunately, I'm sitting in South Africa. Thank you so much for all the insight. Really appreciate the feedback.
Well, Peter, thank you, my friend. We never take that lightly. Everybody's busy, so we always cherish when folks join us. Thank you. We appreciate that. No, Emily, thanks you. Damon, parting thoughts, words of wisdom. What are your takeaways from today's conversation?
Well, I think this is like you said, Emily, in manufacturers that utilize just distributors in their sales process. I mean, you really have to think about it and get everyone involved and make sure it's something that is really beneficial for everyone. And it's going to be great to hear what you have to say at Austin.
That's right.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
All right.
Awesome. Well, Emily, hang out with us for 1 second. And hey, for those of us that have been hanging out for the past 30-some minutes, how about a big round of applause for Emily Ting, just absolutely crushing it. And again, even our friend Peter, I don't know. I think, do they do a virtual? I don't know if they do a virtual the marketing summit. Maybe.
They have a pass, I think, that will let you access recordings of all the sessions.
Yeah, I think you can get a virtual pass. So for those of us that are able to make it, love to see you in Austin, the beginning of March. And if not, boy, we just wish everybody a wonderful, incredible holiday season wherever in the world that you happen to be today. And stay safe, stay warm for those of us in cold weather. And Peter, I think it's summer for Peter. He's like, we need to tell him to stay cool, right? Because he's in summer right now. So, all right, Emily, hang out with us for 1 second. And guys, we'll be back here Friday. Damn, we've got Friday. Wesleyan Whitaker is launching her new book. And so we're going to be featuring her new book on Friday. Can't wait for that. So guys, have a great rest of your week. God bless you. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.